Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about is the practical applications of using AI. Well, one of them is to create content. I mean, you see it all the time. I mean, we talked about VTubing and things like that. People use audio, people use video, AIs to create video. They used AIs to create images, visual assets, scripts. A lot of people used AI to create their own video scripts. So it's one of the most known uses of AI. A lot of these content creators use AI agents to create their content, so it's definitely very useful. But moving on from a consumer perspective to a more corporate perspective, you can see how AI is used for process automation, process augmentation. You can even redefine entire processes to be performed by AI agents. So in this example that I have on the picture there, this is a person still still being the one interacting with the process, but now they have the ability to have augmented reality help them make better decisions. So that's one thing. Instead of replacing the person, what it does is it augments the person's ability to do their job. But like I said, in other cases, sometimes you can replace the person by fully automating a particular process using AI agents. Something else that is a practical application of AI right now that companies are using this for is large data analysis. So obviously, companies have collected data over the years for insights, for reporting, for compliance, and that has served them well. However, they also want to take advantage of having all of this data. In many cases, all of the data, I mean, there's a lot of data that goes to waste because it's so much of it that it's hard to analyze. But if you have an LLM that can read through all of this stuff and provide insights, patterns, provide information, summaries about it, then it makes things much better. I mean, it makes your decision making more informed. So this is something that companies are really digging into, which is how to use AI to provide insights on their own data. Something else that companies are using this for is customer support. I mean, we've seen chatbots being used for years, but now these chatbots are definitely more advanced. I mean, we talked about AI avatars, realistic avatars. We talked about training videos. We talked about all of these things. So now you can have these work in real time to provide customers with answers. As things happen, they can retrieve data, or they can retrieve customer data, they can retrieve product data in real time. So these AI agents, these chatbots, are now being given the tools that they need to be almost self-sufficient and provide customer service in a way that has never been possible before. And an extension of the large data analysis and insights is predictive analytics. So with all of this historical data comes the ability to create predictions. And like I said, when I was talking about LLMs are really good at predicting things. So you can use them to predict based on data patterns on what the trends are going to be for certain things. Now, predictive analytics is not new. It's been around for a long time. However, this used to be very math-driven, very complex. It was super complicated to get something going. But now with AI, these things are becoming more reachable, more possible, and even more accurate. And another application that is used in industry is robotics. Now, you've seen this everywhere. You've seen it in Amazon. You've seen it. Elon Musk has been talking about that. Boston Dynamics. There's a lot of companies that are working on robotics. Now, robotics in industry have been used for a long time in factories, in plants. But now with AI, companies are allowing the robots to have a little bit more freedom and more mobility. Back in the day, the robots have to be static. They were doing tasks that were very, very specific and programmatic. But now with AI, they can be a little bit more free. They can move around and they can learn about their environment, which is making them much more effective at their job. All right, I want to move on to something else that I promised I was going to talk about, which is why companies seem to be running out of money for AI, complaining that things are getting very expensive or that, it was a bad deal. So why the bad news? I mean, you see headlines, for example, this one that says an AI chief is talking about how token leaderboards are very dystopian. All right, let me give you a little bit of background on that one. It is in the news, it's come up that many companies were using these leaderboards where they were evaluating how many tokens people were using. So one thing that I didn't mention, and I promise I will probably make another video about AI application at the enterprise level, because there is a lot more application than just what I described. But some of the things that enterprises are using AI for is going through documents or helping producing documents, answering employees' questions, basically serving as an assistant to employees or companies that are in the software business. They were using AI coding agents like the one I described in Codex to write code. So they were evaluating how much AI were their employees using by creating these leaderboards that showed the name of the person and the amount of tokens they were using. And as I explained earlier, the tokens have to do with pieces of words. So in essence, what this was measuring was, are you interacting with your AI a lot? Are you asking it to do a lot of good things, apparently, or implicitly good things? Are you being productive by leveraging this technology rather than doing things the old way? So in a way, if your name was associated with a lot of tokens, it just meant that you were using the AI tool a lot. But as this article points out, just because someone was using it a lot, it doesn't mean they were actually being more productive or efficient with it. So this person in this article was basically saying this is dystopian because it's just a waste of money, but you're not really having a way to measure results. Same thing here. See, these executives, they were told about the use of AI and they were like, okay, this is great, I want it. And then they start getting the bill. Why? Because AI companies charge by the token, by the amount of calculations and information that they're spitting out. So if you're having these leaderboards where you're basically forcing your employees to use AI for everything, obviously the AI companies are going to start charging you. And when you get the bill, you go, okay, how do I measure this ROI? But like, where's my ROI? And many companies were unable to really justify the cost based on actual measurable results. And I guess there's one thing that I probably forgot to mention. You cannot, even though you could probably run AI on local hardware, which is possible, it's not efficient. If you want the ChatGPT level of responsiveness from AI, you need the power of like cloud servers, right? You need the power of a lot of GPUs, a lot of memory, a lot of servers put together to crunch through all of that data quickly. If you try to do that in-house, that's going to cost a lot of money, or it's going to be slow. I personally have been trying to run AI locally on my computer, and it's not very efficient or quick. So you need the power of the cloud, and they charge a lot of money. So executives are now getting the bill, and they're realizing that, AI costs a lot of money, and it's at this point probably difficult for many of them to measure the return on investment. And something else that I wanted to point out is the effect of software companies mostly thinking that they could replace a lot of developers, a lot of staff with AI coding agents, and then realizing that, oops, it's really not a one-for-one replacement. It's not like, okay, you know what, we have a developer, senior developer, or a junior developer, and we're going to replace it with an AI agent who's going to do 100 times more work for the same time, and it's going to cost us less or nothing. No, it's turning out it's not like that, because you still need to be able to give the AI a framework. You have to evaluate its outputs, and they tend to hallucinate a lot, so you can't just blindly trust it. So why the bad news? Obviously, the technology has the potential. The technology is good. It does produce results. However, if you implement it incorrectly, or if the leadership is misinformed about what it can and cannot do, or sometimes companies have unrealistic expectations of what it's supposed to do because the potential is so great, but the implementation of it needs to be done properly. And one of the other things as to why it fails is because people either don't use it properly, or the user does not adopt the new process. They don't like it, or they prefer not to use it because they don't trust it. So user adoption is small, but another problem. Misuse, sorry about that. Misuse, that's the biggest thing that contributed to these leaderboards. So in the case of these leaderboards, people were not using it to help with their job. They were using it for things that they knew consumed a lot of tokens, but produced no measurable useful outcomes. It was just a way for them to get their name on the leaderboard. So a lot of these things are the reason why in many cases you're not seeing AI providing positive results. But what you don't see in the news is all of the quiet companies that are getting benefit, that did go through the proper implementation path, that they do things the right way, and they're simply just benefiting from AI with more realistic, grounded expectations. And obviously that's not news, so you don't see that in the news. But just because you see all of these bad news doesn't mean that there's only bad news out there. But I did want to bring up the fact that there are bad news, and it's because of, in many cases, these 4 bullets. Well, that was quite a handful, and I didn't intend for it to be so long. But there's so much information out there that I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to summarize it in a way that was understandable. I hope I achieved my goal. And if you want more of these videos, let me know in the comments. Communicate with me, and I will be certain to produce more content. Thank you, and see you next time.